Modern Warfare 3 Survival Mode is arguably the most fun and enjoyable Spec Ops mode in the Call of Duty franchise. It was Infinity Ward's stand-in for Treyarch's Zombies, a game mode which many had fallen in love with during World at War and the original Black Ops. While Zombies is considered to be more popular, Survival definitely captivated many Call of Duty players, offering a challenging experience with modern weapons in a modern setting. I have particularly fallen in love with the mode, putting in hundreds of hours trying to reach high waves with friends. This video will serve to be a beginner's guide to Modern Warfare 3 Survival Mode, and offer a video version of the Steam guide which I will link in the description. Now, let's dive into the intense Modern Warfare 3 Survival experience. You start every match spawning in from the sky, a cool animation that smoothly transitions into the first-person perspective. Your player brings up his starting weapon, and an announcer, aka Overlord, radios into your ear that you need to survive by any means necessary, with limited support. Overlord will radio you throughout the entire match, warning you of incoming enemies and notifying you of dangerous enemy equipment, if any, at the beginning of a new wave. He also notifies you when the support armories are unlocked, and will also comment on your score after you die. There are 3 support armories that open after different waves are completed. The first one, the Weapons Armory, unlocks after completing the first wave, the Equipment Armory, the second wave, and the Air Support Armory, the third. All 3 stay open throughout the entirety of the match. Yes, they are open both between and during the enemy waves. Some other survival games should take notice. Modern Warfare 2019.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
There are 5 different enemy types in this mode. The first few waves start off with shotgun enemies, which are relatively easy to kill. Next come the enemies brandishing submachine guns. These soldiers have slightly more health. The infantry soldiers that spawn later with AK-47s have even more health. Gas mask soldiers follow, carrying ACRs. The last enemy type that spawns are the heavy commando troops, who have the most health and will increasingly get more HP as you progress into the higher waves. These aren't all the enemies that appear. Additionally, there are suicide bombers strapped with C4, attack dogs, suicide bomber attack dogs, chemical core, and claymore experts. There are also enemies that can be considered boss enemies, and these are by far the deadliest and most feared. Yes, you guessed it, these are the Juggernauts. There are actually 3 types in this game mode: the regular Juggernauts, the heavily armored Juggernauts, and the riot shield Juggernauts. The Juggernauts deal the most damage per hit since they are equipped with light machine guns. The last enemy type that could also be considered a boss enemy is the helicopter. The heavy commando troops, claymore experts, chemical agents, and boss enemies all progressively gain more HP as higher waves are reached. They eventually become bullet sponges and take an absurd amount of damage to defeat. This covers the basic information on survival mode. We'll now cover the game mechanics. You'll notice at the bottom left corner of the screen 2 things: 2 random wave bonuses and your money. Money is crucial for obtaining powerful weapons, dominant air support, and defensive equipment. Thus, it is important to spend money wisely so that when the enemies become tougher to defeat, you will have more spending power available to call in support. As for the wave bonuses, there are 6: Kill Streak, Rampage, Headshots, Quad Kill, Knife Streak, and Flash Kill. Kill Streak is obtained by killing 4 enemies without taking damage. Taking damage resets the meter. Rampage is obtained by killing 4 enemies in rapid succession. The meter slowly decreases if an enemy is not defeated quickly after another. Headshots is obtained by headshotting 4 enemies. This bar does not reset if you kill an enemy without headshotting them. You are awarded a Knife Streak bonus if you kill 5 consecutive enemies with a melee knife. Killing by any other means will reset the meter. Lastly, Flash Kill is obtained by killing 5 enemies while they are stunned by a flashbang. For each bonus obtained, money is awarded in increments of $500 for each filled meter. And since Killstreak and Rampage are the easiest to complete, having these 2 streaks together in a wave will offer the most money, so be sure to take advantage of them. Knife streaks become impossible to obtain in the later waves since the enemies have so much HP. This bonus is only beneficial in the very early waves. Quad Kill is most easily obtained through explosive equipment to kill 4 enemies simultaneously. Next up, movement mechanics. The fastest method of moving around the map, which I'll call the hopping technique, involves initiating a sprint, pressing jump, and then sprint jumping again immediately after landing. Moving in this way is very beneficial since it offers unlimited stamina and your movement cannot be slowed. It can prove extremely useful when preparing for waves and evading enemies. Another movement technique that is highly useful for the chopper waves is the crouch technique. When a chopper's turret is focused on you, you can have the turret's bullets miss by crouching right before the turret starts firing. This technique also works when going prone. Listen closely to the sound the chopper makes before discharging its turret. By crouching each time before a chopper fires at you, you will successfully avoid taking damage from the chopper, making it possible for you to traverse the map outside of buildings. Make sure you are careful with your timing, otherwise you may have to seek cover if you take significant damage. When multiple choppers are spawned in a wave, they will never engage you all at once. Only one can fire at you when exposed to its turret. This means that different choppers can engage you if you are in their line of sight, but you'll never have multiple choppers simultaneously shooting at you. This technique may need some practice, but once you've mastered it, it will come as second nature. The next mechanic covered is player and enemy damage. Like in almost every other Call of Duty game, the player's health regenerates after remaining unharmed after a short period of time. If you are close to death, the screen turns pinkish red and your player may start gasping and panting. Continue to take damage and you will die. When you play Spec Ops for the first few times, the pink screen will also be accompanied by the classic message, "You're hurt, get to cover." This message will disappear after you have played the game for a while. If you are downed and you have a self-revive, you will pull out a pistol and a red bar will appear on screen. Remain unharmed for a short period of time, the red bar fills up, and you get back on your feet. Getting hit by an enemy will decrease the bar. If you are hit enough times, the bar will deplete and the game will be over. Killing an enemy before this bar depletes will also revive you. When any enemy other than a boss enemy takes damage in survival mode, they go through a flinch animation and produce an audible groan. Groans can also be heard at the beginning of an enemy's death animation. Enemies cannot fire their weapons when in a flinch animation. This can be taken advantage of when you have multiple enemies firing upon you. It also slows or halts the enemy's movement if they are running, giving them less opportunity to engage you. The only way juggernauts can flinch is if they take explosive damage, which may briefly knock them to the ground. Some enemies, such as the suicide bombers and chemical experts, can take only one bullet to kill. If you hit the chemical expert's gas canister, he will instantly die. The moment when a suicide bomber takes damage, he falls to the floor and his C4 starts beeping, exploding a few seconds later and dealing splash damage. All of these mechanics I have mentioned are what makes survival mode so satisfying. Seeing a rampage bonus appear at the top coupled with a sick sound effect makes it all the more rewarding. Getting to hear the satisfying grunts and groans of an enemy as you're pelting them with bullets makes you feel as if you are some sociopathic mass murderer. And hopping across the map like a rabid bunny is another mechanic I found to be satisfying. It is these mechanics that have made the mode so enjoyable, that and you're able to squad up with a buddy. I could not see myself investing so many hours into this mode if these mechanics were not implemented. Pretty much all the hardcore survival players will tell you that to reach high rounds you need 5 things. 2 LMGs, the sleight of hand perk, a self-revive kit, and a camping spot. Therefore, it is impractical to attempt high waves until you reach the max level of 50. The sleight of hand perk, the most important perk because it speeds up your reload animation so that you can get back to shooting quicker, is unlocked at level 50. Many of the powerful LMGs are also unlocked at higher levels. It is when you are at max level that you can take full advantage of the resources provided to you. The survival community generally agrees that the 2 best LMGs are the L86 LSW and the MG36. They have a high ammo count and relatively fast reload speeds. Some players will opt to use the M6E4 because it deals the most damage out of all the LMGs. The LMG you should probably avoid is the PKP Pecheneg, the one that the Juggernauts use, simply because it deals the least damage. In the higher waves, you will begin to run out of ammo before killing every enemy, requiring you to use the ammo armory mid-wave. Fortunately enough, the armories are always open, unlike Modern Warfare 2019 Survival, so you can refill your ammo at any point during the wave. Refilling ammo mid-wave can be a tricky task, but with the right plan it can be done. For the equipment armory, it is essentially always necessary to carry at least 2 flashbangs in your inventory. These stun and slow the enemy and can be used when you're in a tight spot or taking a lot of damage. The flashes also cause riot shield juggernauts to stagger and temporarily lower their shield, making them vulnerable. RPGs are the most useless resource in this armory. They take up one of your 2 weapon slots, have a low fire rate, and have a limited ammo count. They are pretty pointless in the higher waves because the enemies have such a big health pool that they will literally eat the rockets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they will come back for seconds every time. Body armor can come in handy when preparing for jug waves. They can also be quickly purchased when you're in a pinch and need to escape from an onslaught of advancing hostiles. If you ever feel that you may be at risk of being downed, buying body armor is a good idea and worth the money, because it can mean the difference between just a few $1,000s poor or the entire game ending. Solo survivalists will need to have a self-revive kit at all times if they want the opportunity to get back up after being downed. And then there are the sentry guns. There are 2 types, a regular sentry and a grenade launcher sentry. You can place up to 2. Make sure when you're placing these that they're not exposed to gunfire from choppers. Some clever placements will ensure that your sentry turrets last for many waves. When the sentry turrets are under heavy fire, Overlord will announce, "Sentry is taking heavy fire." And if the turret is destroyed, he will say, "Sentry gone offline." Another important thing to note. Don't place grenade launcher sentries in close quarter areas since the grenade impacts can inflict friendly fire damage on you. Now, as for the air support streaks, Predator missiles come in very handy when taking out a clustered group of soldiers all at once. They also offer the advantage of seeing enemy spawn points when orbiting the map. Precision airstrikes, given they provide multiple high explosive strikes on enemy targets, become more useful in higher waves. When a singular Predator missile can no longer destroy a helicopter, sticking an airstrike marker to the chopper's blades will direct the explosive barrage onto the heli. Airstrikes are also vital in boss waves when weakening the juggernauts. Last but not least, the Delta and Riot Team squads can distract enemy gunfire and offer much needed assistance when you're facing large hordes of enemies. That essentially covers the basic tips on survival mode in Modern Warfare 3. Stay tuned for another video where I go into greater detail on more advanced survival strategies. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.